Hey, it's Cody A here. Do you know that you will be spending US digital dollar in 10 years? Not US dollar, not BRICS, not yuan, but US digital dollar. Let's find out how. Do you know what's the #1 best product selling in the world history? It's actually US dollar. If you're someone who clicked into this video and wondering if the US will continue to dominate the currency game, let's look at the current world currency reserve. 58% of the world currency reserve in US dollar. Another 20% of the world currency reserve in euro. And another 6% world currency reserve in Japanese yen. And another 5% is reserved in British pound. And of course, 2.7% is reserved in Chinese yuan. So altogether, that counts for 91.7% of the world currency reserve. And out of the 91.7%, US dollar accounts for 58%. And the concern of whether US dollar will continue to dominate all started from the following 3 events. First, US weaponized the US dollar. Second, they kicked Russian off the SWIFT system. The SWIFT system is the biggest financial system you use to wire your money to different banks worldwide. And the third event is when US froze the Russian dollar when they go into war with Ukraine. So why is it so important to promote the US dollar and continue to have a dominating role in currency reserve? And who controls the US dollar? It's the US Federal Reserve, the Feds. So how has the US Feds continued to create and maintain the insatiable demand for the US dollar? First, they asked all the US citizens to continue to pay their taxes in the US dollar. Number 2, this is even more fascinating. US require all countries worldwide to trade oil in US dollar. So that means every country who wants to buy or sell oil has to first transfer their money into US and transfer it back into the country they're gonna buy or sell the oil to. And number 3, US required the SWIFT system that you wire money worldwide to be only in US dollar. And number 4, throughout the pandemic, US has been printing a lot of money and lowered their interest rates. So they flooded the entire world with irresistible low interest rate loan that would be repaid in US dollar. And you know what the Feds did to continue to flood the market with low interest rate money? Feds continue to buy bonds to further reduce the interest rate. US Fiat Currency is now 51 years old. Fiat money is a government-issued currency that's not backed by a physical commodity, such as gold or silver, but rather by a company that issued it. US dollar turned fiat in 1971, but hold up, let's look at what happened before 1971. So in 1933, there was a gold confiscation. In 1933, under the executive order of the president, all persons are required to deliver all their golds back to the Federal Reserve before May 1933. Now that the government has full control of the gold, they have enough money, so the US dollar after 1933 was backed by the amount of gold. So what happened in 1971 when the petrodollar turned into a fiat currency? That's when the US government unpacked the US dollar to gold so that they can continue to print a limited amount of US dollar and flood the world with US dollar. So when other countries trying to challenge the dominance of US dollar and want to trade oil in their own currency, this is what US is gonna ask them. Do you still continue want to buy F-35 fighter jets from us? Or they will ask, do you still want the protection from the US Navy? Because US Navy is the strongest Navy in the world at the current moment. Do you still want the thousands of US troops deployed in your country for protection? Do you still want access to all the satellite intelligence that's provided by the US government? So just by simply asking those questions is way too much to lose for the countries around the world. So far we've talked about yuan, gold, but we haven't talked about Bitcoin. You guys might be wondering, Bitcoin is the future currency that everyone has their own privacy of trading across the world with no government's oversight. And you're right, Feds do want to dip their hand into crypto as well. And the US Security Commission allows a Bitcoin ETF to only be traded as a future or derivative. So it's not as easily traded as a stocks or option. It's only in the future market. Then the US SEC does not allow a Bitcoin ETF spot market. That means it's even harder to find the right price to trade Bitcoin. And then SEC extends the lawsuit against XRP, which is Ripple, and that is intended to protecting the SWIFT system we mentioned early on that was mainly traded in US dollar. And then right after that, Hillary Clinton warned that the rise of Bitcoin can undermine the US dollar reserve currency status. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Let's take a step back and look at the market cap for all the world currencies. So by April 2023, there is $13 trillion worth of gold, and there's $1.4 trillion worth of silver, and Amazon, the juggernaut company, is worth $1.1 trillion. And guess what? Bitcoin is only worth $530 billion. So Bitcoin is actually the smallest of all. So US has reinvented its dollar throughout the history, as we know, from the gold confiscation in 1933 to unpacking themselves from the gold backing from petrodollar to the fiat dollar to then now the near future, they will create their own currency called the US Digital Dollar. And here's the trail of the Feds are giving away hints. In November 2022, Federal Reserve tested the new US crypto digital dollar. Citibank, Wells Fargo, and Mastermind launched a pilot program working with the Federal Reserve Bank of New York to test the feasibility of a digital dollar. Then comes March 2023. US Feds closed the top 3 crypto banks all at the same time, including the Silvergate, Silicon Valley, and the Signature. And what's the likelihood of that? I know you guys have been waiting for this. So here are the 4 conversion phases of the current US dollar to the US digital dollar. First, you will have a choice to spend between cash and a US digital dollar. You can pick that. Phase number 2, some kind of crisis will happen. US will be seen as going broke at some point, and US government will come out and say, we just want to collect enough tax in US dollar so that we can continue to feed everyone and build the bridges. Phase number 3, media would depict people who use cashes are enabling tax dodgers to exist. Phase number 4, to make America the strongest country. By 2033, all transactions must be made in US digital dollar. I know this video is just a quick summary of the 4 phases of transferring from US dollar to US digital dollar, and I did not come up with this video on my own. I collect a lot of reference from John Pennington, who's someone I look up to, who has brought a real estate fund to an IPO last year, and now he's managing billions of dollars of real estate fund. So let me know if you think we'll all be using US digital dollar in 10 years. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Say yay.